What is up, YouTube? HCJ here, and good morning to you all. Yeah, today we finally have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile for you guys. As funny enough, we're wrapping up February. I forgot how short February is. February this year is only 28 days. So yeah, I want to wrap up as much as I possibly can, and I hope you guys enjoy the content that I'm putting out because after all of the stuff that's been going on with me, um, I'm just trying to get it. I'm trying to recover as possible and make sure everything is going well. So I do appreciate you guys waiting out for everything. And I want to give you guys something new. So if you guys haven't seen the video already, I did a box opening of the Traptrix. Yeah, so my Traptrix video should be up at the time of recording of me opening the Traptrix structure deck, showing off what was in the structure deck, and talking about things from my personal view. So, when it comes to me ever doing this, and I want you guys to know, I will always build a deck based off of combining all the stuff from the three decks that I buy into one. So it's a rare occasion to actually do it. And I want to do it this time because I think it was a great way to just go into Master. I mean, not Master. Sorry, because I just recorded my Mastermind deck profile. So that's how you guys know what time this was recorded. And we're gonna go ahead and go into the forest of the Traptrix. So beware of them because that forest is deadly. Um, Also, this is something that I'm gonna point out too. I thought it was really crazy because one of the cards in there, Mantis. I don't know why she wasn't at the front part of the deck, but she was at the bottom. She was the last card in the deck. If you see her card number and where she's placed when you open the deck, so it's very weird. But um, yeah, I mean, everything that you need for Trap Trick is in the deck, and you can even play variations of hand if you want to have some old school, um, remembrance of that. Because hand used to be a very problematic situation. I don't know what exactly stopped hand towards the end of that year, because I want to say that was about 2014 when hand came out. Artifacts, Trap Tricks, and Ants, and Trap Tricks was still getting all this plethoric stuff because they were printing a ton of different trap hole trap cards. Reflasia had just came out. Dianetta was out. Yeah, there's a lot of things. I don't know exactly what stuff is. I'll probably look it up and see. But probably maybe just things got faster in the meta and people weren't setting too much back row. So maybe that was the thing. And Duster wasn't the problem because Duster didn't get unbanned in TCG till 2020. And Duster in the OCG was out at 2015. So yeah, I don't know. I guess just things played out differently than what they were. All right, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna look at things. So why don't we go ahead and start off with the monsters? So, my monsters are as follow. I'm running 3 copies of the beautiful Murmillo, then 3 copies of Arachnocompa. Also, I want to make this note that I do not know the names of all the chart tricks, so forgive me. I'm gonna do the best that I can. Next up is 2 copies of Pudika, 2 copies of Diana, 2 copies of Vesculo, and 2 copies of Mantis. And then for the main deck non-trap trick monster, 3 copies of the lovely Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. I mean, you guys kind of have to figure that was coming since she was already in the structure because it is. Alright, so moving on from there, give me 1 second. We're going to now go into the spell cards. It is a very small amount of spell cards. Starting off is the 3 copies of Traptilizing Tune, 1 copy of Trap Trip Garden, and then 1 Raigeki and 1 Harpie's Feather Duster. I don't know why they're not centered. That's my fault. There we go. So yeah, that is all my spells. And then for the trap cards, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of trap cards. It's almost like this deck is meant to supplement all the trap cards. 3 copies of Trapoluti. Um, yeah, Trapoluti. Then 3 copies of the Phantom Knight of Shade. Don't know pronouncing that last part. Um, when I learn it, I'll learn it and I'll memorize it. And then 3 copies of the infamous Evenly Matched. Now, moving into all of the trap holes that I'm using for the deck. 3 copies of Grave Digger's Trap Hole. Then 3 copies of Floodgate Trap Hole. And 2 copies of Terrifying Trap Hole Nightmare. Alright, and that is it for the main deck. That is a total of 40 cards. Then moving on into the extra deck. Three copies of Traptrix, three copies of Traptrix Rafflesia, then two copies of Traptrix Aloe Morris, three copies of the lovely Traptrix Sarah, two copies of Traptrix Attipus, and two copies of Traptrix Ria. Alright, so that is it for the Traptrix main deck, extra deck. And now my explanations for things that are being built. So, starting off, Traptrix Mermillo on her normal summon can get any trap hole normal trap card from your deck to your hand. And then on her special summon, she can destroy any solid trap card your opponent controls. Great way for sudden trap removal outside of Duster. The search for the normal searcher for your trap hole trap cards is great. And of course, the main effect that they all have is that they're unaffected by the effect of other trap hole trap cards. There are some combinations of things you can easily do, and I'm going to reread them because in combination with their extra deck monsters, you get a lot of shenanigans going on. Because I'll suggest some things later, or I'll probably make a different build later on to survive those combination of things. Alright, moving on from there. We have Traptrix Arachnocompa. And for those who are trying to pronounce her name correctly, think of arachnophobia and then also think of Columpia, which is a carnivorous plant. Or carnivorous bug. Because I believe this thing associates off of both of those. It's a clear spider, and of course people's fear of arachnids. But Arachnocompa has the ability that, well, she's your extender of that. If you control a Traptrix monster, click effect, you can summon this card from your hand. Although you cannot summon monsters for the rest of the turn for your extra deck that are in plant or insight, that's perfectly fine. Because remember, this is the build that is based off of the structure deck itself. So all your extra deck monsters are plant and insight. So you won't have that issue at all. But like I said, this is an extender, and you're basically just using her to summon um, herself in addition to whatever Traptrix that you have on the field. So it helps you rank up. It helps you do link climbs. Yeah, it's just a lot of things you can easily do thanks to Compa. Next to Compa, of course, is the other monster, and one of the monsters that was going to be featured on the TCG version that they cut out. This is Traptrix Pudica. Her look looks very similar. Actually, I believe this was supposed to be a younger version of Traptrix that Fictives, because I believe they share a similar monster. Now, Pudica's effect is that when she's normal summon, you can add the card Traptrix Garden from your deck to your hand. But when she sets something, you can target a special summon monster your opponent controls and banish it. But during the next standby phase, your opponent can special summon um a monster that's in their banished to seal it. So although it helps you get rid of things, it also just brings back. But that's perfectly fine because your trap hole cards are going to be triggered like crazy. So it is like the deck said, beware of the trap. So, alright, moving on from that. Actually, no, I haven't even gone through my explanation of things. And my thing about it is that I'm probably going to bump up the field spell because I'm probably going to try to utilize the field spell's effect as much as possible because the field spell in combination to having its own searcher is great. I just wish that it had um, some other ways of being searched because unfortunately the two spells that circulate with this archetype do not have Traptrix fully in their name. But they do circulate around the archetype itself. So maybe in the future, if the Traptrix get new support, again, I would love to see the Traptrix monsters get a monster that says search for a card that includes Traptrix in its card tags. Kind of similar how a lot of other cards have that nowadays, where cards say when this you can search your deck or add a card from your graveyard that specifically lists this card's name or this particular archetype in its name to your hand. So maybe that's something for a food for thought. I'm sure there's a carnivorous bug or plant that um can help with that. Dianeta is next, and Dianeta is probably another monster that I'm willing to bump. Excuse me, up to 3. On her normal summon, she can select any Traptrix monster in your graveyard and special summon it. When she is special summoned, you can set one trap hole normal trap card in your graveyard and banish it during the end of your opponent's turn. Um, no, at the end of your turn after you set it. Dianetta is basically just here to be the special summoning effect from the grave, and then you can link or exceed into things. That's what I said. I think I'm gonna bump her up to two. Next up is probably is Veselio. Veselio's effect is that you can send one set spell a trap card you control to special summon her to the field, and if she is, you can banish her from the grave to set a trap hole, normal trap from your graveyard to the board. So, yeah, I mean, it's not a bad monster, but it's more so a filler to do things um, and get things continuing to go. From there, we have Mantis. So Mantis is a fact. Mantis on her normal can add a Traptrix monster from your deck to your hand, and in quick effect, you can target one spell attack card you control to return it to hand to set another one. In combination, this works well with Dianetta because Dianetta can put the card into the field, and then she can bounce it back to make sure the card can be reset so that it doesn't go to the graveyard at the end of the turn, which is great because remember, cards that go back to the hand or deck, they reset. So Mantis can do the resetting of that card Dianetta's set. And I believe it's not even on the normal summon, it's just a quick effect. So yeah, that was a really good combination of things there. I believe, yeah, and she's a searcher, so she can search for things and put them into the hand as well. All right, and then last but not least would be hand trap of choice, the lovely Ash Blossom Enjoy Spring. To do negation of one of the following: when your opponent sends a card from the deck to the grave, when your opponent searches the deck and adds a card to the hand, or if your opponent is trying to special summon from the deck. Ash Blossom can negate one of the following three. And of course, making her one of the most viable trap cards currently is the game, because a lot of people main her. A lot of people try siding her in, just trying to fit her in wherever they can because Ash Blossom is amazing. Of course, this is another one of her reprints for those who do not have an Ash Blossom because Ash Blossoms tend to get very expensive. Even at her common, which is typical for Yu-Gi-Oh! Because there's commons that tend to be very expensive because there are other things that just they either have something really good going for them or they're attached to something that's going on currently that helps deal with things or becomes part of the problem. Anyway, going on to the spells, we have the triple copies of Tantalizing Tune. It's basically just draw power. While some people don't enjoy the fact that it does what it does as draw power, which is just sending a level 4 insect or plant from your hand, a normal trap card, or a normal trap card um, to the grave and then draw. Oh no, it just says discarding one of the following to draw 2 cards. And then you can banish it from the grave to add, was it a go for a lower insect or a normal trap card to the bottom of your deck that has been banished. So recovery and setup. That's really what this card is good for. And it's a definite 3 of in my book because that's really how many I'm running. Because draw power can be skipped. Because you can have all the pots you want, but if the pots really don't survive to the additional stuff that you need, then there's really no reason calling them deep of really trying to fit in something that just doesn't work out. Next up is Traptrix Garden, and this is here to extend our normal summon, and then being able to special summon Traptrix monsters from our hand or graveyard, triggering off of their abilities, doing different, doing the extended of normal summons, which is something this archetype definitely needed. Who would have thought Traptrix would get spell cards to survive a lot of their gameplay? Too bad neither of these can be searched out because they don't have Traptrix in their name, which I also think is a good thing too because it might also conflict with some other things. But Konami, it's been 25 years. You can get this shit together. So yeah, that is it for those spells. And then the other spells, of course, are Raigeki and Harpie's Feather Duster. You have monster removal and you have stone trap removal. All right, then moving on from there. Oh Jesus, we have all of these trap cards. So let's just get these. Let's just put through these out the way. For extenders and additional summons, we have Traptrix Poluti and we have Phantom Knights of Shade. Shade can easily be triggered because, well, for if you're not it's an easy starter. If you don't have any trap cards in your graveyard, you can easily play it from your hand, easily activate it to turn it set. And same thing with this card by simply just discarding a normal trap card from your hand. Both of these cards can become monsters that are level 4, so you can easily exceed and go into things that you need, or you can even link some and go into things that you need. Love the benefit for when archetypes take advantage of cards like that, especially when you want to exceed or link some. Or synchro some, but this deck doesn't synchro. So, yeah. Alright, we got those out of the way. The next one up is Evenly Matched, which is a massive reprint. A lot of people in the CCG were basically hoping for, especially those who are dueling on a budget. The thing about extra evenly matched was evenly matched had a reprint last year, but that reprint was also expensive as well. Basically, with evenly matched at the end of the battle phase, if your opponent controls more cards than you do, your opponent banishes cards that they control up to the number of cards that you control. And you kind of want to do this when you have literally nothing on the field, because then that way they have to get rid of everything. And it's a massive work wipe. And it's where and it can't be negated by most things because it's banishing. It's not destroying them. It's just banishing them. So yeah, it's an amazing card. Definitely a 3 of because and it's offered to you automatically if you buy multiple copies of it. Now for all the trap pulls. Gravedigger's Trap Pull, great against hand traps and card effects that are going off from graveyard, and can inflict an additional 200 points of damage to your opponent as well. Floodgate Trap Pull, this is basically Book of Moon to anything that's being summoned to your opponent's field, and then that monster can't change the battle position, so that's even funnier. Um, Popping off those combo plays. And most decks don't tribute summon, so that's an even bigger thing to help do. Then the next one is the Terrifying Tropical Nightmare. So when stuff does get crazy, if your opponent sets one of monsters and there's at least one of them on the field with 2k or more attack, you can banish them. And if you have a trap pull normal trap card, you can banish a monster from your opponent's graveyard. So yeah, you're killing two birds with one stone. Now I could have easily made these into triples, especially the Terrifying Trap Pull. There's like a ton of other trap pulls you can easily play. You can trap pull Nightmare. You can play trap pull with spikes, any combination of the trap pulls. See that? I think that was the only trap card. I mean, there was a ton of trap cards that weren't included, but they just gave us all the ones that knew were necessary. And I believe this is the first time Gravedigger's trap pull is getting reprinted. Especially as a common. So yeah, take advantage of it if you can. All right, and then moving on into the extra deck. Um, the extra deck basically is here to survive Insector Plat, as well as survive the Trap Trick. So one of the big keys is, because I'm going to definitely go out of order, big piece right here is Sarah. Sarah's ability is that when a Trap Trick is, when an old trap card is activated, you can summon a Trap Trick monster from your deck. When a Traptrix monster's effect is activated, you can set a normal trap card to the field. She's a definite must-have at 3 because of her abilities. And just the extension of these you can do, because remember, you can send Trap T to the graveyard because she is a non-trap, she's a non-link Traptrix monster. Next up is our girl Kularia. Now Kularia can is unaffected by all trap cards. Then, in addition to that, for each of her following effects, that after a normal trap card is activated, you can set it instead of sending it to the graveyard. That is really good because of the fact that there are a lot of you basically aren't wasting up your cards. And Link Climb, make her off of something, and then have all your other trap tricks on the field as well to help protect her in that case. And then during the end phase, you can target a trap trick monster in your graveyard and just summon defense position, so you can get more extenders off of that as well. Or you can start blowing that stuff from vanilla. Moving on from her is Attiplus. Now Attiplus is our new is the other cover monster, is one of two of the cover monsters for the destruction deck. Her ability is that when you control all your trap trick monsters gain 1k if you have a normal trap card in your graveyard. It's not hard. Once a turn, you can target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of insect and plant monsters you control and negate their effect until the end of the turn. And then you can apply this effect as well, banishing one normal trap card from your graveyard, and if you do, you can destroy one other targeted card that are face up. So she's also removable as well as negation and a 1k plus buff to your monsters. Yeah, there's a lot of good things with this monster. All she does is requiring a two or more monsters, and one of them at least needs to be planar insight. Which, like I said, this is what Traptrix does. Moving on from there, we have all of the Exceed monsters. We have Alamora, another one of those monsters that is unaffected. that makes monsters unaffected um, by trap cards while she has material. She can attach 2 material from herself to select a level 4 or lower plant or insect in the grave. No, a level 4 plant or insect monster from the grave, not lower, just a level 4 plant or insect, and she can summon it from the grave. Um, and then when your opponent's monsters leave the field because of a card effect, of your card effect, you can now send your graveyard or banish. You can detach one material. Detach one material from this card. It's such summon that target. So yeah, you get some beat sticks off of this monster. Then we have our girl Rafflesia, who's a definite 3 of. Being able to activate trap cards from the deck by detaching material from herself. Then, not to mention, she makes sure that all of your Traptrix monsters, excluding herself, can't be destroyed by battle or card effect. So you have a heavy beat stick as it is, in addition to having another wall that your opponent has to burn through. And then we have the other cover monster, Pulikia, who, while she has material, she's unaffected by the effects of trap cards, and your other monsters are also unaffected by the effects of cards that are attached to her as material. Now, how does that happen? Well, one of her abilities is that when monsters your opponent controls are sent to the graveyard or banished by a card effect, excluding the damage step, you can attach one of those monsters to this card as material. So yeah, you can make your monsters start being affected by other cards in terms of their type. And then on addition to that, that once per turn you can attach material to add a Traptrix monster from your deck to your hand. So this uses the process of getting things. And as you can tell, this deck has all of those extenders and setups to help with a lot of these extensions and effects. So, with that said and done, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of my Traptrix deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed it. I know it's very long, but hey, I have to get things together for you guys. And I do, make sure that my information is together. So, if you guys have any additions to the Traptrix deck, if you guys would like to help out building a competitive version of Traptrix or a more modernized version of it that's not using so much of this stuff, you can put that in the comment section below to help out. And not only me, but your fellow Traptrix players. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, as it helps out tremendously. You also hit the notification bell so you get informed of when I do upload more content. Social media links, they're in the description box below. And you guys can catch me on Twitch at twitch.tv/HarpiePlayerJoe, where I'll be finishing up Pokemon. Yeah, I'm trying to get through Leaf Green as soon as possible. So, you guys want to check me out and come live and chat and have some fun, you definitely can. So, thanks everybody for watching. I'll catch you all next time. HBJ, signing out. Take care.